Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. We're going to get back to a question that we came up with yesterday during the reading yesterday as we were watching things unfold. I asked the question, like, what all is this person going through? There is just so much intense energy, so much desire to communicate, so much going on here, so much intensity that really just hasn't let up since sometime in April. And we've been watching it unfold, we've been watching it kind of happen. But now we're going to look through, and it's like a focus on your person, but specifically with the goal to understand what it is that your person is going through. So it's of course a general reading, but it's a general reading for this collective. So if it resonates with you, then you may want to consider if you are part of this collective. Won't resonate with everybody, of course, because it is for this collective. But if it's you, you may want to look at some of the other messages. You may also want to subscribe. So we're going to start with that basic energetic backdrop, the way that I typically like to start, so that we have some context with which to take the rest of the reading. And so this is that energetic backdrop, energy that's impacting both of you right now. And it may be impacting more people, but it's definitely something that is wants to come out with regard to this relationship in particular. We have the Nine of Cups. We also have the Five of Swords as an honorable mention, but it's really about making sure to fight the right battles. It's not necessarily an indication of whether you are fighting the right battles, though. Just a reminder that wants to come out. Make sure that you know why you're doing what you're doing. So this fits right in with that, though, because the Nine of Cups in reverse is about one of the lessons that this whole soulmate situation has really brought to the fore. And this has been about understanding yourself even better, understanding what it is that really makes you happy and that constitutes your wish fulfillment. So there's a little bit of a lesson to be learned here about recognizing that these things evolve over time. So your person in particular, and maybe even you to a certain degree, have followed something that you definitely were told it would make you happy, or you believed it would make you happy, and maybe as you started to approach it, it even did for a while, but for some reason it's coming out as not really being enough, or needing to be tweaked a little bit in order to truly get to that happiness. Now, for your person, I feel like that's a big shift that needs to occur. For you, it feels like it's a little bit more nuanced, but not necessarily any less impactful. So it's more, in your case, I think, values in the way you're seeing yourself. Your person may actually require an entire overhaul. So we've seen that in previous readings. This Nine of Cups in reverse is just kind of bringing that up and saying, this has come to the fore today. There's very much a feeling of not having completely identified what it is that constitutes that wish fulfillment. And you may have most of the answer, but you need to make sure you're looking a little bit more deeply. And right along with it, here's that other lesson that always liked to come out, starting a few months ago. We've got the Ten of Cups. This one's about discernment, and it's about understanding what to do when you are confronted with something that is like a wish fulfillment, something that makes you very happy, something that seems like it's too good to be true, and you get up close to it. You really have to get up close to it to understand whether or not it is truly too good to be true. And when you get there, then you have to figure out what to do about it. But what you do is almost always in that gray area rather than in the black or white. Your person has, in many cases, removed themselves from a communication standpoint, which was a very black and white sort of response. We have the Seven of Pentacles here, a card that we've seen a lot, and we've seen a lot of it in reverse. And it's been about evaluating and just kind of reflecting on what investment has been made so far and whether it has been the appropriate level of investment or not. In a lot of cases, your person has been coming out realizing that they had not made an appropriate level of investment with you. You may be going into that and coming out with, hold on, I overinvested, and that is, that's a whole realization in and of itself. We've got the Ace of Wands in today's energy. Okay, everyone, Keep your eyes open. There is opportunity right out in front of you. Look for, okay, I saw this, gosh, it was like a YouTube short or a Facebook reel or something that was very short. I don't think it was on TikTok, but it was basically this person saying that, it's a song that they had written about making plans sometime earlier and not wanting to go out and do those plans. And the song was about, no, go out and do it anyway. Look for the opportunity for you to go out and do it anyway. There's something associated with something that you already have decided that you're going to do on some level, and now you're considering not doing it, whether it's plans that you made with somebody, a commitment that you made to yourself, whatever that is. Look for it, engage in it. It's not directly either. It's going to birth a whole new idea, or it's going to set like a domino effect in motion that's going to create something that sets you on fire, sets your soul on fire, and something that we've been talking about, looking forward to. In some cases, you guys are already engaged in that. However, there's something here that's like a step up, whether you've not started at all, haven't even identified it, or whether you're, eyeball deep in it. You gotta keep your eyes open, because there's something that's going to ramp it up to the next level and make something very positive for you. Then we also have the King of Wands that's coming in reverse. This is maybe something that's going to work against you. You've got this King of Cups energy coming in kind of next to it. And with the Ace of Swords in reverse, it's like an inclination not to do something. It's an inclination to consider yourself beaten by a situation. So you've got the Lovers in reverse. This is something that can't happen. You can't bend to it. You can't do it. Whatever it is, it's a door that won't open. And the Ace of Swords here is a truth about that it seems like it is easier to simply dismiss. Or not necessarily that you're denying it to yourself. There may be some level of denial. I don't get that that's coming from you. So if there's denial, it's coming from your person, but I don't think it's even denial when it comes to them. I think it's more a matter of just not looking at it. And in your case, it's almost like not looking at it, but it's actually kind of shoving it to the wayside, but not exactly taking it out of the field of vision, if that makes sense. You're not being completely shove it under the rug about it, okay? But there's a truth that needs to be acknowledged here around something that feels like you kind of can't move forward, can't do it. But it can't be ignored. And that's what's happening in this energy. It can't be ignored, and yet it can't ever fully be realized. It's like an asymptote. If you look at, I don't know how many of you are into math, but the concept of an asymptote is a curve that goes toward an axis but never quite reaches it, okay? It never quite gets there, and it never quite gets to zero. Like if that axis is at zero, it never quite gets there. It always gets closer and closer. It's that kind of energy, but it's prone to like being drawn upon, it's prone to being hauled down or dropped by this energy. This King of Wands energy is almost like a depression energy. That wants to just slow everything to a halt. It's like everything suddenly getting stuck in a glue that wants to harden, and it's an interesting energy to navigate, because even with momentum, you kind of worry that you won't be able to work through it. It's like this energy that feels like it comes with a reputation attached to it. There's a Four of Pentacles here, though, in the reverse, and an Ace of Pentacles in the upright. I like the Three of Cups energy that comes in with it, but not so much the Seven of Cups. So we've got the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Three of Cups in the upright. We have the Ace of Pentacles in the upright and the Four of Pentacles in the reverse. So starting here with the Four of Pentacles in the reverse, that's letting go of something, but it's letting go of something very important that's getting in the way. This, I feel like, is your energy. Your person may be doing something like this, but I don't think they're as far along as you. It's letting go of something, and we've seen this in previous readings. I think it came out with totally different cards. It was like Five of Cups and Five of Swords or something that felt like this. And really what it meant was, if you easy does it, if you allow this to just kind of flow, there's a door that opens. There's something that comes out of the way. Now, with the Three of Cups, that's that energy of, remember the thing with the the Ace of Wands, where I was saying, there's something that you need to attend This Three of Cups says that that thing is going to actually be enjoyable to you as well as positive. It is going to present you with some options. Like I was saying, it's pretty indirect. You're going to have opportunities that come out of this, but they may be opportunities that you, for one reason or another, are disinclined to jump into. Just observe them a little bit. Maybe look at them from the side. They're not as distrustable, untrustworthy. They're not as untrustworthy as they look, but evaluate carefully because some of them are not as untrustworthy as they look. You've got multiple options here. You could overdo it and end up in untrustworthy territory. So definitely observe your options and opportunities carefully, and make your choices carefully. But there's a lot of positivity here to be had, and you're going to enjoy doing it. Again, with the easy does it energy, kind of opens a door for you, but you've got some energies that are kind of pulling with you and against you. Um, I would just say this Lover's energy, this I don't feel like I have an opportunity in this energy kind of feeling, ties in really well with the depression of this King of Wands, but doesn't really get you anywhere. This truth that you're having a hard time looking at, maybe this is a good time to look at it. Let's get into the question of the day. So, what we're looking at really is it's about your person and what all is this person going through. We've seen some really interesting things. You know, we did the June update for you at the half month mark was just gorgeous. Then we did the soulmate one, and it was like the energy around you was still really positive and still really uplifting. Great time to be a part of the collective from that standpoint, but your person's energy is still very much wandering and kind of weighing you down. And so looking at that, since your energies are so close, we did a reading about the interaction between your energies, just kind of the back and forth and how do you handle it, negotiating in this. And that's where we started asking the question, like, what exactly is weighing on this person? What are they going through? So that's the question that we're asking now. And maybe this is why some of these readings are as tied together as they are, because not only do we see the messages go throughout, but sometimes I will flat reference other readings and say, okay, what was that? You know? And okay, so we have emotional instability. King of Cups. Oh, we're keeping the Page of Cups. I think it was here. And we're keeping the Justice. All right. So we have the King of Cups, which is that emotional instability. This is fear. This is essentially fear more than it is anything actually happening. It's this King of Cups over here. Here's what happens if it gets out of balance. And all of a sudden the integrity falls away. All of a sudden the ability to follow like a reasonable path goes away. There's still a lot of desire to communicate. So here's part of what your person is going through. They have lost their moral compass to a certain extent because of something that they're going through, both with you and this third person and this quest for updated values. Okay, so that is literally where it feels like they're losing their moral compass. With the Page of Cups, though, they still have the desire and the drive to move forward in certain things. They can't help but want to contact you, and it's so thick right now, you can probably feel it. And I would just say, you know, maybe we'll do a reading at some point in the not too distant future to determine whether you should be reaching out to them or not. But at this point, it is what I'm feeling is their desire to reach out to you, or their kind of the feedbacky sort of dissonant energy in there is about that communication that hasn't happened. It chafes on them that the communication hasn't happened yet. It feels like things are not right. Things are not right. And I almost said not yet right. I think we're going to go ahead and bring that in and say things are not yet right because there's this assumption that they will ultimately be. Now, that's not a logical assumption. That's just sort of a feeling that feels like they can't not have it that way. It feels like it's going to be the destiny. Feels like it's already been set into motion. This is definitely that feeling of destiny, but also that feeling of now here's what I'm talking about when I say wish fulfillment, because it brings more with it. Ideally, the two of you being together would bring a lot more with it than simply the experience of the two of you being together. So there's a lot going on inside your person around this, and they're railing against it. We've got the Hierophant saying there are traditional ways to do things, and you're not following the traditional way. There's something wrong with this. So this is not usually what we get from this card, but those are the words that want to come out. This is like a person who provides guidance, who believes they should provide guidance in your person's life, who is basically saying that you're not doing something in a traditional way, or they're not doing something in a traditional way. So they're also dealing with that. We're gonna go, ooh, all right, let's see, they're at the end of a cycle, and but yet there's more change coming. So it's like a cycle within a cycle. We've seen this in some of the recent readings where it's like, oh, you're at the end of a cycle. Oh, but hold on, it's part of a greater overall overarching cycle, and we've got that sort of thing happening there with them. So there's a sense of finality with your person. Something that they've been working to, kind of like they're shaking it off, and they finally got it to come off. There's a sense of finality about it, but now they don't know what to do with that hand other than shake it. And it has it's behind on a lot of its work. So what's good about this though is they're figuring out how to get past the part where they just sit there and fry about it and don't have any real answers. They don't have any, they just feel like they're sitting in nervousness and sadness and discomfort. There's that. Sometimes they get into this, even with this little bit of depression in the energy here. That's like small potatoes to them. It may be impacting you more than it's impacting them. They seem to be more, I don't know, familiar with that world, or used to navigating it, or otherwise they're not as heavily impacted by it. But they do have that uneasy kind of feeling that things are still not right. That dissonance around not having contacted you, not having have had good communication. A lot of them have had no communication. There's a serious issue of imbalance. We talk about the temperance being a hard-won balance. We talk about being like on the tightrope with all the stuff on your shoulders, and you're managing it and everything. And every once in a while, I think I referenced it more recently as, okay, this one feels like you're hanging by your knees, but you're going to be back up there in a minute. This is not even that. This is like maybe you're tied off, that you're just hanging there by the rope. It's not there's a lot that has to happen to get back onto balance for your person. They have a definite decision to make here. We're going to look more into that when we get into the extended, because all of this tells us there's more going on. So I think we're going to blow it up and maybe even just do one big, what is your person going through, hit it at the next level kind of question, because the first cards that come out kind of give us that top slice of information, and then we're digging in more here, and it allows us to understand a little bit more, along with this context, what it is that we're seeing when we get into the extended and go in even deeper. So we know there's a decision for your person to make. Hopefully something about that will come out here in the extended. We also know that they're afraid to move forward and make that decision. There's something really uncomfortable for them there, and they don't have the strength to overcome it, or at least they don't feel like they do. So strength is really just constantly working in opposition to their fear. It doesn't mean that they don't possess the strength. It simply means that their fear is greater at this time. So there's definitely that sense of their fear being greater at this time. But we've got the Two of Pentacles here saying they are they are appearing, for all intents and purposes, to keep it in the air at this point. That's just kind of modesty, looking egoistic, looking like they have it together sort of energy. But it also tells you it may be a little bit tougher of a shell that they have around them at this time. So we'll definitely look more deeply into this when we get into the extended. And I think this time we will intentionally, how sometimes we get into the extended and it's like, oh, I'm just going to ask this little question here. And all of a sudden it's like all over. It's like this huge question. I'm like, okay, first off, I was going to ask more than one question, but secondly, I've gotten so much more information here than I ever hoped to get in one extended reading that it turns out to be worth it. So I don't know that we can force that effect, but I think we do want to look more deeply into what turns out to be a relatively broad question about what all your person is going through, because they're feeling emotionally unstable, but they're also it's like there's this push and pull within them, and yet they're doing their best to actually not worry about that right now. But one of the reasons is because they feel like it's already been set into motion, and they feel like they already have some of the answers, which they do, but they're receiving some resistance from elsewhere in their lives. There's a lot of change that's coming from within the universe, not necessarily being spurred by them, but they're having a pretty good job, or they're handling it pretty well. They're having a decent time moving through it, despite the fact that they're not on balance. They're not freaking out about the fact that they're not in balance. But they do have, again, some definite decisions that they need to make, and yet they're afraid to move forward. They're more concerned with looking like they are on in a good place and keeping this King of Cups appearances up, which the King of Cups appears to be very stable, and this emotional instability is actually the thing that'll start to make it look like it's going to crack. So let's look into where you need to focus. That's the last place we're going to go before we head into the extended. Okay, here, let's see. We've got the Seven of Coins and the Hermit in reverse that want to come out. And this one, what was this? This is the Death card, because I was like, that's an honorable mention. And I guess since we're not using this deck for anything else before we go to the extended, I can just go ahead and leave it out as an honorable mention. But we've got the Seven of Coins talking about that investment energy again. We saw that over here. This is where you get to do your, you get to look at your situation and determine, did you really overinvest? Or did you set yourself in a situation where you are now prepared to learn something, but you haven't already got there yet? You haven't already learned everything that you need to learn. So the fact that you are evaluating this is a good thing. You are, the honorable mention energy says there's significant change coming for you right now. It's not necessarily bad change, but it's something that's coming to an end, because you're going to get to see something that, you're going to get to see something, and it's based on whatever this social thing is that you're going to actually have a pretty good time at, that's going to unlock some doors for you, but not directly. So don't think you're going to show up at this thing and then as you're leaving be like, okay, what was it? It may not quite be there yet. But it has to do with you're going to have experienced something during that social event or whatever it is. You're going to have experienced something that kills a concept for you, and now you're free to think about a thing differently. So let's look into things a little bit more. So this is really in your very near future. It could even be today. Like, it's in the energy of today, but that doesn't necessarily mean, sometimes that energy will stick around for a couple days. So it doesn't have to be today, but it's in the today energy, and it's very much something ends conceptually for you because you see this, and it like ends some part of your assumptions. I want to say your innocence, but that implies things I don't mean to imply. It's going to be the end of an era as far as the way you think about things. It works well to run concurrently with the thoughts and considerations that you've been having here. You've got the Magician. The world is in your hands. That's what I want to say, which is, I don't think I've ever said that with the Magician card, but I mean, not that it wouldn't make sense, but you have everything you need. You're ready to go. You don't need any more assistance getting down that path. Ooh, and you know it. Awesome. I love this energy for you. I love this energy for you, because it's like, it doesn't cut anybody down. It just raises you up. It doesn't say anybody else is doing poorly or is a bad person or whatever. It's just saying, you know, that you're pleased with your ability to move forward with this, and you have excellent confidence. It's very positive, because all the energy where you would compare yourself to somebody else and cut them down is toxic energy. And so for you to just feel raised up in your own right, but not feel like you have to tear anybody else down, is very positive. You have the Eight of Pentacles, which is kind of that self-mastery, that emotional self-mastery that I'm talking about right now. It's that kind where you can feel confident in yourself, not to feel like you need to tear anybody else down, or that other people can have success also. You've got this Two of Wands, though, and it's about this Hierophant right here. It's about the thing where somebody in their family, or somebody in their, it's like somebody in their family, so many of them. It is somebody in their family. But, you know, it's somebody in their life, not always their family. It could be somebody at work, but that's teaching them things or telling them something that's making them sort of stay farther away from you for one reason or another. We've also got this Queen of Cups, though, that says the love is pouring in faster than the negativity is punching a hole and creating a situation where love would pour out or otherwise not be able to manifest. They're remembering how we made them feel. So you made them feel in a way that they just felt better about things. They just felt fresher, like they could take a fuller breath. Like I found myself taking this deep breath when I said that, you know, and that's how you made them feel, like nice, fresh breath. But they overthink it. They overthink it very seriously. You might have done that as well. And you guys bounced off of one another in some way. However, okay, so you've got the Seven of Swords here, and it's not saying that there's somebody being deceptive. It's saying that you still don't trust yourself in some way. You've got to really allow yourself to finish learning this lesson. So this Hanged Man, I'm like, as it came out, I was like, does it go this way? Does it go this way? And both of them were a no. It feels like it has to stay sideways like this because it's a lesson that you're like right in the midst of learning. It's not something that's far off in the future. Yes, no, no. And so there's something that you're kind of in the middle of. Allow it to flow. Yeah, you've got the Five of Swords. It's suggesting that you're going to feel compelled to fight a battle that doesn't make sense. Don't allow it to happen. Make sure that you are getting closer to the connection with your higher self. Don't be passing it up, even on a good day, where you're feeling like, oh, maybe you're a little bit better. You don't need to meditate. You don't need to pray, whatever it is. Make sure that you continue to do it. Keep that up. And just make sure that you stay connected to that higher power, because that's going to be a big part of what helps you to work through your person's energy around making this decision. Because remember, the reason that we were forced to ask this question is because they are so energetically close to you that you're feeling stuff. Like you're feeling stuff that isn't necessarily part of your experience. You're feeling the results of them experiencing things. As they go through this decision, you're going to feel pulled, maybe even in both directions a little bit. Your connection to the overall source is going to be helpful to that. So as we go into the extended, like I said, we're going to go ahead and blow this up into a really big question and kind of go in deeper to understand what all is going on within your person's life. What is your person going through? But we're also going to dig in a little bit more on what it is. We're going to do the bridge question, what it is between you and the energy where you want to be. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go over to the extended. The link is down below. Thanks for being here with me with this. I look forward to seeing you in that epic extended, or I will see you in tomorrow's reading.